So when it comes to this topic, I've pretty much stayed relatively quiet on it because, as a lot of you guys know, cameras for me, I flip and flop left and right. If you guys have been with me for a while, you know that I started this channel shooting with the 1DX Mark II, and then I switched over to the Sony era, to the Sony a7 III, picked up a pair of those, and then slowly worked my way over to the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, 4K, which I absolutely love that camera, still by far my favorite cinema camera to date. And indirectly, through owning the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, it kind of pushed me to the Canon EOS R, which, don't worry, I have a whole video where I'm gonna explain how the heck that actually happened. And that video is actually already shot, just gotta finish editing it. But now I'm hearing word about this EOS R5, and a lot of the rumors that I personally thought were way too good to be true, Canon is now confirming them as fact. So let's talk about why I think this might be the greatest camera Canon or really anyone has ever made. What's good, creative fan? Brandon Washington here, and the Canon EOS R5 is by far one of the, right now it's really the only camera that I've been really hyped for. I had made a decision a long time ago when I left the 1DX Mark II that I was done with DSLRs. I mean, the 1DX Mark III, don't get me wrong, it seems like an amazing camera, but for me, I personally think that DSLRs are pretty much over and that it's time for mirrorless cameras to really step it up. I think eventually we'll get past the idea that mirrorless cameras have to be these small, little compact, portable things, but that we'll really start to be able to implement a lot of the power that mirrorless cameras can do with what we've been used to seeing from the big body DSLRs. Well, Canon's pretty much saying, screw that, we can make an awesome camera and keep it in the size of an EOS R with the EOS R5. Now, you guys may have just heard, but Canon has actually gone ahead and confirmed a lot of really awesome things. The biggest one being that this camera will shoot 8K full frame at up to 30 frames per second. Now, if you ask me, 8K is complete and total overkill. Recently, I've been shooting with this guy here, which is the Red Helium 8K. It's Super 35, so it's not full frame, but this camera in and of itself is a monster when it comes to how much storage that it takes up. This guy shoots in a couple different codecs, one obviously being the Red Raw, but then also it shoots in ProRes, and both of them are complete storage hogs. And so for me, to think about an EOS R that shoots 8K, it's going to be complete and total overkill for most people, but it may just be the one mirrorless camera that you buy now and not have to worry about upgrading for a while. And I think that's pretty much why Canon is doing this. It seems like for the first time, Canon's gonna throw everything they can at their cameras and not dumb it down. Now, I say that with a huge, well, maybe, because Canon has been known to dumb stuff down for no real reason. Like, for example, when they offered 4K and up to 30 frames per second on the EOS RP, but then you couldn't shoot it at 24 frames per second. Weird stuff like that. I'm really hoping Canon doesn't do that with the EOS R5 because it seems to be like the camera of all cameras. Now, it is a weird time for this camera to really be announced, especially with everything that's going on in the world right now. And, you know, for Canon to be saying that, hey, you know, this camera really exists and it's really awesome, they may just be telling us all this stuff so that we don't go out and buy other cameras, because Canon has already said that they have either are or already have shut down some of their factories in China due to all this whole, you know, end of the world stuff. But for the lack of better terms, I think that Canon is really gonna go all out on this camera. I think Canon has already done everything they needed to do in the lenses side of things with all the amazing RF lenses. Now they are gonna give us the camera body that matches up to all these lenses. The biggest caveat I have right now when it comes to this camera is the price. You know, I personally said, and even when I originally reviewed the EOS R, was that it was way overpriced for what they were giving us. Now the EOS R is super inexpensive, especially if you bought it during the actual holiday season. You got it for basically a steal. But today, if Canon were to drop an EOS R5 that can shoot you know, crazy high frames per second, giving us 8K full frame at up to 30 frames per second, obviously giving us some form of 4K at maybe up to 120 frames per second. That's what a lot of the rumors have been saying, and the rumors really haven't been too wrong lately. Dual camera slots. You know, I personally think that most people are gonna be shocked with how expensive this camera is gonna be. You know, Canon has released super expensive cameras before, like the 1DC that came out many years ago. And when that camera came out, pretty much it was not in anybody's price range. But I wouldn't be surprised if the EOS R5 doesn't come in at a super high price point, possibly up to $10,000, which a lot of people are gonna think, wow, that's ridiculously expensive for a camera like this. But when you think about the prices of the lenses compared to the camera body, if this is gonna be their high-end, super pro camera in the mirrorless level, well, they can't really charge just $2,000 to $3,000 for it, because then it's gonna compete with all of their other cinema cameras that are kind of doing the same thing. You know, as someone who today has pretty much decided I'm going to have a designated photo camera and a designated video camera, whether that's the Red or the Blackmagic, you know, I don't know about spending that much money on a designated hybrid camera. I know a lot of filmmakers and photographers who like to have just one camera to do it all. I personally was that way for the longest time, which is the reason why I bought the 1DX Mark II. But I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. I'm really excited about the EOS R5. I hope it gets announced sooner rather than later. Pretty much everything is being canceled right now, so I'm not really sure when we will see it, because like, for example, NAB apparently has already been canceled, and I'm sure all the other conferences are going to ultimately be canceled. And with China pretty much being sort of shut down right now, and people not being able to go to work out there, factories not being able to be open, how quickly can they actually produce this camera? We'll have to wait and see. All in all, I'm really excited about this camera, and I wanted to officially let you guys know what I thought about it, because so many of you guys have been sending me messages over on my Instagram asking me what are my thoughts, what am I gonna do, why didn't I buy the 1DX Mark III? Well, the reason why I didn't buy that camera is because the only camera on my radar right now for 2020 is the EOS R5, but I don't even know if that's gonna be a perfect fit based on how much it actually ends up costing. But let me know what you guys think of this camera down below. Let me know if you guys think I'm completely nuts by waiting on this camera, or if there's another camera that I totally missed and that I should definitely be checking out. I'd love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. But thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.